postpartum is so bad. Like, you don't want to take a shower. Like, you don't want to do your hair. You don't want to do anything. You just want to stay in the house, and you're just like, you're just content in what you're doing, like in the house. Like, there were times where my sons were like, I was only feeding them waffles because it's just like I didn't want to even get up to like cook a meal, So Kessie Vasquez Stackhouse. I have 2 kids and I'm 31.
What's it like being a parent?
It's definitely an adventure. You have your ups and downs where, it could get very stressful, but it's also very rewarding at the same time because you're watching these, this life these lives that you produced, and you're like helping them grow and be, become into themselves and things like that. So it's very rewarding, because my children are a reflection of me. So I'm happy to be able to teach them the things that I know and what I've learned that I wasn't taught. Obviously, breaking generational curses and things like that. So it's really good that, if I didn't get that instilled in me, I get to instill it in my children. So being a parent is definitely rewarding in that way, because one day people are going to be like, wow, like, like you're a good person. It's like, yeah, my parents raised me that way.
Do you know what postpartum depression is?
Yeah.
Tell me a time when postpartum depression got the best of you.
Oh, Jesus. All the time. Postpartum depression definitely got me when it came to like my anxiety. I already had anxiety really bad beforehand because I was in a domestic violence relationship. So after I got out and like shortly after, I met my husband, we started dating, and then from there we had a child. So it's like I still had a lot of trauma from that past relationship. So when it came to me having a child, it was really hard for me to cope with being a parent. And it's like I loved it, but then there would be some days where I'm just like, this is a lot. This is way too much for me. And like, Jay, he wasn't really home as much. He was mostly like at work, and he worked at night. So it was always just me. Basically me on my own a lot. Not because like Jay didn't want to be there, but he had to, be the provider and things like that. So when it came to like postpartum, I went into like a state of depression where I didn't want to work. I was very anxious to work. And that's not me. I love to work. So it's just like for me to not work. I was a stay-at-home mom for 4.5 years, and it really was hard for me. I was very anxious to work. I would like work for like a little bit and I would quit my job. My irritability, like, oh my God, the way I would just get angry. And, I would try not to take it out on the boys. And sometimes like, it's like when I felt myself getting that way, I would just like go in the bathroom and just like cool myself down, because I knew that if I didn't, then something else could transpire, and I didn't want that to happen. So, I had to like really learn how to, control myself, even though I'm still trying. I'm in therapy, but, postpartum really, it messed me up really bad. I'm just happy I'm getting through it now.
Did you feel like you suffered in silence, or were you vocal about it?
So I was vocal partially. So like I would talk to certain people about it and some people I didn't. I would talk to Jay about it, but like I felt like he didn't really understand because he had his own thing that he had going on, and I felt selfish bringing it to him because I knew he had his own situation going on. So I tried not to like bring it to him when I felt like he was the main person. I should have. I talked to my friends about it. I would talk to like my dad, but he didn't know. I talked to my mom about it, but like my mom would just kind of just say pray and, just things like that. And I would do that, so that was good advice. Praying is always a good advice. But, I felt like the main person I needed to talk to was Jay. And I didn't end up telling him for real until like, I think it was like maybe 3 years in. And I finally told him like, yeah, I've had postpartum. And I'm talking about like postpartum is so bad. Like you don't want to take a shower. Like you don't want to do your hair. You don't want to do anything. You just want to stay in the house, and you're just like you're just content in what you're doing, like in the house. Like there were times where my sons were like, I was only feeding them waffles because it's just like I didn't want to even get up to like cook a meal, So like those types of things. So when I would tell Jay these things, he was like hurt because he's like, man, like I didn't know that's what you were going through. And we had problems in our, marriage because of the fact that, I wasn't taking care of myself. And obviously he knew me to be a very clean person, to be this, to be that. And I started like losing myself. And because of that, we were having like issues to finally that we finally talked about it. I told him it was the postpartum, and then he like understood after that. So
What things about you changed after having a child?
definitely my understanding. I feel like I was understanding already, but my understanding has changed even more, because like I remember when my sister, like I used to see her like do certain things with her children or say certain things, and I would just be like, like kind of like give a side eye, but it's like I had no right to do that because I wasn't a parent at the time, and you don't know what parents go through. You have no idea, not one clue. It really is different when you're a parent versus when you're not. So I would like say certain things about, like not say certain things about my sister, but just tell her certain things like, oh, maybe you should do it like this and do it like that. Until I had my own children, I realized like, what was I even talking about? Like I was bugging. Like I shouldn't have even said anything like that at all, because when people come to me and they say certain things, I'm just like, don't tell me about anything. Like I'm not saying I don't take advice, because I do, but I just have a better understanding of being a parent, that I won't just open up my mouth to say anything, because you don't know what's going to be offensive to a parent, that actually this is their first rodeo as being a parent, and I have two, and I had them back to back, so they're both 12 and a half months apart. So it's just like, it was a lot for me, for me to become a parent, and now to gain that understanding, wow, I get what these parents are going through. And I realized that, me as a parent, I have to kind of just kill my ego. So whatever things and feelings that I have, I shouldn't place those on my kids. So like when it comes to like right now, my kids, they have hair. So it's just like, if they grow up and they're like, I don't want my hair no more, I'm going to just cut it, because of the fact that I want them to be able to choose what they want. I don't want to be like how my mom was like, or my dad, like, oh, I had to do what they told me. I want to be able to, let my children have their own choices. So I learned that as a parent as well. Like, you have to give your children that independence and things like that. So, yeah.